If you're new to Forward Education, so I know a couple people we've met very recently, but our core mission and the goal that we have here is to bring coding and now increasingly AI literacy into the real world. MicroBit is a great little hands-on device to do that with. So we have a lot of kits, a lot of accessories like our charge that allow educators and schools to do a lot more with their MicroBit once they've gone through some of the basic exercises. Today, we're going to talk about MicroChat, and that is our all new, it's a baby still. It was launched earlier in June. It is our AI literacy assistant that is focused on MicroBit. So we're going to do some light demos and show you some resources today. We're also going to talk about some of the Educator online. We have lessons, we have best practices guides, and I'll show you where to find all of those things. And before we break, I do want to talk about the Computer Science and AI Literacy Grant, which we just expanded to include district coaches, specialists, and trainers as well. So we'll get into that. Oh, my screen went dark. Missing a screen here, but that's okay. So MicroChat is an AI coding assistant that is built to code with block code or JavaScript for MicroBit. A lot of folks, when they get started with MicroBit, there's a lot of resources out there, and sometimes it can get a little tricky for some to get started. So MicroChat, one of the best ways to get started is that you can create MicroBit success in seconds just by using a plain text prompt and then creating the block code, which then can be downloaded onto your MicroBit so that it works. So students get that very rapid iteration of taking an idea that they have, like create a smiley face or create something complex like our dice rolling game or rock, paper, scissors, and having it working immediately on their MicroBit, really helping them tie idea to output. With our MakeCode integration, if anyone has used Create AI, which is the machine learning tool for MicroBit, MicroChat works just the same, where you can create a code using AI, and then you can take it into MakeCode to then continue to edit it, to change things, maybe to decompose it, to understand how it works, and then take it right back into MicroChat to continue coding. Today, we're also going to talk a little bit about student logins and our sessions feature. So this allows students to log in without needing an account. It allows teachers also to see everything that is happening in their student accounts, keep an eye on things, and also have a chat history so that A, they can go back and take a look at how their students were progressing, or B, see maybe where students are struggling or attempting to have maybe off-topic chats. Which is where the final piece comes in. MicroChat is built for school. It is built for K through 12, and it has guardrails built in so that it continues to politely guide students back towards the content of the lesson and does not allow open internet access or weird chatbot conversations that will introduce non-school safe topics. MicroChat is built with the PRIMM model as a guide. So PRIMM, if you're not familiar, is a methodology from a researcher out of the UK teaching physical computing. It is an acronym that stands for predict, so asking students what they think will happen and then running that code to see, did it actually go the way that I wanted it to? It encourages students to then investigate that output to see, well, if it didn't go right, why? If it did go the way I expected, then help me explain that back. It then asks the students to then continue to modify and extend the prompt, sometimes giving ideas on how they might take something simple and make it a little more complex or a little more exciting, and then continuing to make something new in that cycle. So one of the biggest questions that we always get about MicroChat is, doesn't this just take all the learning out of learning to code? It takes that productive struggle out. In fact, it just moves that productive struggle instead to start with the idea and start with the concepts of computational thinking of when something happens, do something else, and allow students to see their ideas and get that rapid success while challenging them to explain what happened what happens, which is what really makes the learning stick. And we're going to do a demo of all of this so that you can have a look at how that works, which is where we're going to go right now. So in the demo, MicroChat can do a lot of different things, and I would very much encourage you to take a look for yourself. I'm going to focus on 3 things in our demo today, which is prompting, so basic, how do I turn my idea into code? I'm going to talk to you about the MakeCode extension and how you can go and modify your code. And then we're going to talk about sessions and how you would set that up and monitor a classroom session using MicroChat. So I'm going to jump out of here and go over to MicroChat. So having shown MicroChat to a lot of educators over the last number of months, sometimes this blank screen is the most intimidating piece of MicroChat. Where do I start? Well, we have a nice, easy little prompt here, the basic MicroChat display a heart on the microbit. You can also go into our learning library, which I will go back to later, and get started with one of our lessons. And we are starting to pump these out a lot quicker now. And we will have some community features where people can contribute their projects and lessons as well. But for today, I've decided we're going to try to do the mood badge. So I'm going to just enter a little bit of this in here. So when I press A, wait, I'm going to leave that typo. B, show a frown, shake it, and show a random emotion. So I'm sure most people have used a chatbot before. This is your standard exercise here. And then when MicroChat responds is where it changes from chatbot to AI literacy tool, helping kids understand how computer science and how the code works. So I can see my blocks. It's showing me a nice little happy face and a frown. It's using MicroChat's built-in functionality to enter the random. It's got a couple emotions here. So a pretty good start. You'll see, though, that it's asking me, how do I think it will work? What do I think is going to happen when I shake it? So I'm going to look at the code here, and I'm going to say, looks like it chooses a random emotion. I can't type under the hot lights of the webinar. So it will take a look at my response, and as expected, it will come back and let me know, am I on the right track? I'm going to now try to throw it for a loop and maybe say, I don't know. So did it work as I expected? I hate this. I don't want to do this. My teacher is making me do this. Okay, it can be frustrating. Can you tell me what went wrong? Did it not work? So this is one good example of how MicroChat keeps conversations on track and continues to encourage students to come back to the lesson itself. So I'm going to load my microbit and follow what MicroChat is asking me to do here. So I can do that in one of 2 ways. I can try to download, and it's going to prompt me. You can't see my screen, but it's your standard microbit pair screen. It's going to prompt me to connect my microbit, and it's been downloaded. So in that quick exercise there, I can press my A, and it's going to give me, or that was my B, it's going to give me my frown. It's going to do my A smiley face, and if I shake it, it's going to show a random emotion. I want to expand on this. Show more emotions when I shake. So you can see here, students can have a lot of fun. They can continue to expand on their code and take their ideas a lot further, and really see how block coding starts to work to interpret a text idea and turn it into something that now works on microbit. So you can see here we've got more emotions. That's wonderful. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take it into MakeCode. So as an example, let's say I don't like that there's kind of 2 smiles that look almost the same. This one just has the eyes in a different spot. And then we've got our neutral. So I'm going to maybe add a nose and make him a little happier. This guy, I'm going to take him back here. And maybe I will add a melody on one of them here. I'm going to choose something kind of fun. Okay, good. So I've done a little of this. This is something that you can help your students through, and you can give them some instruction. You can test your microbit and see how that works virtually, even if you don't have a microbit. I can hear that. That sound is in my ear. I know you probably can't. When I bring it back over into MicroChat, it's going to read the changes that the student made and continue where we left off. And even you can start using MicroChat again to continue to expand on the code here. So this is a really simple example of taking a mood badge and turning it into something that's more complex, showing kids how the random exercise works, different buttons and inputs and outputs. So now I can download it again. It's still paired, and I've got my microbit working with different modes and emotions happening when I shake it. Oh, I don't know if you can hear that. Okay, so that's our basic tour of prompting and jumping over into MakeCode. The last couple of things I do want to show you is that if you have students that are a little more comfortable in coding or more experienced, they can generate the JavaScript and take a look at how the JavaScript works. So if you're starting to show the differences between code blocks and JavaScript, and of course, when you're editing in MakeCode, you can jump over to JavaScript and Python there as well. Now, most educators are thinking about how they use this with students. So we have a concept of sessions. Every account has up to 30 different seats. So that's a classroom of live students that can join up to 30 at a time without needing an account at all. I'm going to show you first a session that I've already created and had a couple students jump into. This is my 3rd grade mood badge session. I had 3 students join in. When I create the session, I can share the sessions with my students. I can give them this link here, just the join link, and I can copy the session ID or put this up on my screen, and they'll enter it into their screen when they want to join. When they do join, they'll get a simplified version of MicroChat that takes away the menu board on the left-hand side and just leaves the chat and leaves the code blocks. Here, you can still do JavaScript and MakeCode. So this student here is communicating the sentiment that some students have, that AI is evil and I hate it. So here, MicroChat is trying to keep them back on track again, and we're reluctantly moving forwards with the code. And this student, you can see their chat history here. I can go into anyone's chat history. It's trying to help my student, in this case, keep their personal information off the internet and out of any chatbots. Even though this is a closed sandbox and a safe space, when the student is asking to display their name when they press A, it's giving them some good suggestions here. Don't share your personal information. Don, if you have more than 30 students, yes, you can add more student accounts to your account so that you can host more than 30 students at once. So yeah, absolutely. So the student has decided to use their nickname instead. The student never ties their laces, teacher calls them laces. And so we've got our nickname in here. Likewise for our gorilla here. So the nice thing is that the students can come back in. If they use their same avatar name or their same proxy name, they can pick up where they left off and continue on. To create a session is quite simple. I'm going to create that new session. We're going to call that the June 25th webinar. We've got 10 seats. The message limit here is going to help to keep students on track and give them a little bit of a finite limit on how many chats they can have, so they can't go off forever. It's going to stop them having long random chats. You can choose to make this whatever you like. Let's say I want to keep it so that they don't go more than 15 chats, And then I'm going to automatically archive this session after today. When I create this session, I now have my share session code that students can join, and I can hand out these avatar names or alias names to each of the students or student groups. And then just like we did in the session that I already showed, you can go in and see the live chat and all of the chat history. So some educators and teachers are using the chat history as a way to assess understanding. They're creating some of the lesson content and the slides that they're sharing in class and asking students to do certain things within MicroChat. A really good example of that is create a pedometer for MicroChat within MicroChat. I'm going to give you 10 minutes to create that pedometer, and then we're going to share. And I want everyone to stand up, share their pedometer code, discuss why it worked and why it didn't, and critique each other's to see, how we might improve our prompting or how we might use AI better to create that pedometer. So that's just one good classroom example of how to do it. So we talked about this a little bit already. We really do believe that getting stuck up in the syntax and asking kids to first understand all the different structures within coding is one good way to start to learn to code. But instead of doing that, MicroChat takes a thinking first and coding second approach. So describing ideas, observing AI to see if it got it right or wrong, those types of things are still computational thinking. They're thinking of if, when, or when do statements, and they're putting that into MicroChat and they're iterating and learning. And then MicroChat is asking them to explain it back so that it helps make it stick. This is going to help your average students, or maybe some of the students that need a little more help, be independent and believe that they can code before they have to worry about semicolons in the right place, or did they use the forever block or the on start block properly. This is going to help them start and decompose what they've created from their idea. At the start of today, I showed some of our projects and educator resources. I'm going to just hop back over to that again now that we have a little bit more context. Don, I would say it's vibe coding-ish. It's vibe block coding in a way. So yes, we were at MicroChat or MicroBit Live in Barcelona, and vibe coding was a whole set of sessions of which MicroChat was featured. And so yeah, I would call it vibe coding. And I think there are some critiques and some, maybe negative comments coming out about vibe coding. What MicroChat is attempting to do here is keep it centered on physical computing, so that students can actually see the results of their coding, see it working or see it not working in their hands in real life, helping to make that feel even more real. Just like somebody might use Claude Code to create a web app and see if that was working properly, and maybe that's a more advanced version of what can get started in their hands in a classroom using MicroChat. So if you haven't been to Forward Education's Learning Library before, we have all of our products and all of our resources on here. You can very easily find MicroChat projects in our filter here. This is for educators. You can see these are the projects that we started with. As an educator, you can come through. You can take a look at the educator guide for this lesson, which is a link. It's going to give you some of your prep notes, and it's going to give you step-by-step classroom instructions on what you can do. So in some cases, you might want to give the students a version of this prompt or ask them to do this prompt, or you might leave it up to them depending on their age and skill level. But this is really your cheat sheet. This is going to help you run this lesson in class and have a constructive session. We've got a handful of these already, and we're going to be continuing to create more. The other area that I'll direct you to is our educator resources. So similar to the projects, you can see all of them filtered down. So we have student worksheets, we've got some really good intro activities here. This one is really well done. It talks about PRIMM. It gives you some different ideas to get started with MicroChat so that you can get over the intimidation of just a blank page, and a lot of other resources here. I can link this out in the follow-up so that you can explore them yourself, but lots of really good things to get students starting with AI literacy and using, I'll use vibe coding to vibe code with microbit. I've touched on this a little bit. Thank you, Pam. I've touched on this a little bit, and I think it's very important to continue to touch on these two really big topics. So in an era, and certainly I think a summer, where districts and boards are going to be making decisions on how they review and approve AI literacy software, there are two really important things that every school has to worry about. One is, what data is it capturing? So as we showed, only teachers need to create accounts. It's using just your name and email to do that. Students do not need to create accounts. So we're completely going around and avoiding risk with FERPA and COPPA and capturing student data. So your IT team might be asking you some of those questions. MicroChat is designed to comply with both FERPA and COPPA by keeping student data anonymous. We are proactively removing PII that gets accidentally entered into MicroChat. As well, during the demo, I showed you how MicroChat's going to help avoid students entering that kind of information in the first place. And you can see your whole chat history. Before we break off for more questions here, I do want to talk about the MicroChat Computer Science and AI Literacy Grant. Here we have a grant where we're providing free MicroChat licenses to educators and trainers at regional training organizations, at not-for-profits, at higher ed teacher training programs, and now we've recently this week expanded that to district trainers, specialists, and coaches. Our one key qualification is that you are training other educators. This is not for teachers that are going into the classroom and looking to teach students with this. We're trying to create an AI literacy skill set with MicroChat among the educator group so that together we can develop AI literacy in the classroom. Our goal here is that we're using a force multiplier, a train the trainer model, where we can take one grant. Perhaps it's delivered at a district level to a PD session over the summer, where you're training coaches, specialists, school-based educators, and then they can take it to the rest of their school and to their students, so that we're exponentially reaching more and more folks with MicroChat. I will provide a link to this. You can find this prominently posted on our website. And we do encourage you, if you're working with other educators and sharing AI literacy with other educators at whatever level, please consider applying for this grant, because we would like to give you a MicroChat license for the next year. With that, as I mentioned, you get a MicroChat license. We're going to be hosting virtual staff training. We've got on the educator resources, workshop slides, classroom lessons, everything is turnkey and ready for you to use. And we're going to be posting events very shortly on our website of where this AI literacy training is starting to happen. If you do apply, here's the link. Again, you'll get it in a follow-up email. We're reviewing these fairly quick, and we will get back to you within a week of your application to let you know how to get your MicroChat software license. Okay, we nailed it. I think that was 25 minutes on the dot. So we had a couple questions pop in, but please, please shoot. Let me pull up the chat here. So Terry, you're saying when you were playing with it, you created a light show when sound was detected. To further expand the idea, added color. It said it was possible, but we needed to add something. Is there a list of possibilities of add-ons? So that's a really good question. And I did mention that MicroChat is just a wee baby and it was launched just a couple of weeks ago. Right now, it works with V1 and V2 microbits. We are very soon going to be launching the ability to code with Forward Education's robotics kits and products. You can see that. So all of our different sensors, lights, those will become options within MicroChat to be able to code. So if you have a multicolor LED light ring, you can code with that in MicroChat very soon. So please stay tuned. Anyone who registers will get an announcement when that is available. And to answer your direct question, Terry, it is AI and it is a chatbot, and sometimes it may tell you something that you need to test again. And that is part of the fun and part of AI literacy, is understanding where AI gets things wrong. It might think it can do something and you attempt it and it doesn't work. That's a really good way to go a little further and inquire, why didn't that work? Excellent. And Pam, if you just head to forwardeducation.com, there's a link right from our homepage and right from our navigation. Thank you, Caitlin, for posting it, and I will send an email afterwards. Terry, maybe you can expand on what you mean by, is the chat biased? If you'd like to unmute, you can go ahead and do that as well. It's a good question. I'm curious. Maybe if you're unmuting or typing it out, I will say the bias that is embedded in MicroChat right now is just that it's going to make sure that it's creating block code for microbit. So that is the only bias that is built in right now. If you are interested in teaching about AI literacy and bias, you can use some of our lessons online, which is the anatomy of a wave using the Create AI. If you have a microbit, it's a free way to see if my wave matches maybe my seat partner's wave. And you can teach about machine learning and data sets and data samples to see if I train to see a wave in one way, it's not representative of everybody's wave, which is a really easy and hands-on way to show bias built in. No problem, Terry. If there are other questions, I can hang out. Otherwise, that is the end of our prepared content. Olivia, so MicroChat is built for both V2 and V1 microbit, so it will work on both. However, it may think that your V1 microbit has the V2 sensors if you don't specify. So if you can tell MicroChat, I have a V1 microbit, that should fix any of those issues. It doesn't recognize it by default. Thank you, Terry. So Connie, to clarify what I was saying about training an AI chatbot, that is a slightly different software created by Microbit itself called Create AI, where you can train a machine learning model to recognize physical movements with Microbit. So if I wave it, if I shake it, if I raise the roof with it, you can use that as an input to machine learning. So yes, a fun way, another way to kind of pull back the curtain and to show how some of these AI models are trained.